think we're back. Can you say hi to your sister? Don't worry, they actually love each other. He's so vicious. Oh my goodness. Okay, drop. Sit. Okay. He loves hotel rooms. Well, it's been a while, boys and girls. As most of you have guessed, I no longer have the van. You hear him? Hear him in the background? He really wants to play right now. Let's see it. Oh yeah? You want to play that badly? He's insane. So it's been a long time since I made a video. As most of you guys have guessed, I no longer have the van, so this is no longer a van review channel. Here I'm just gonna now review things and talk about things and my experiences with different products. Today, we are going to be talking about the Penguin Chillers. So I wanted to get an ice bath. I'm getting older, got a lot of bumps and bruises. And I've done a little bit of research and I found out there's a lot of benefits to ice baths. So I did my research and came across the Penguin Chillers, which seem to be like a fantastic machine. Not cheap. I wanted an ice bath that I can keep indoors or outdoors, and something that was fire and forget. Something I didn't have to always drain the water on, something that would filter itself, and would just kind of be a standalone unit. Well, this is my experience with Penguin Chillers. Spoiler alert, it's not good. So initially when I got the Penguin Chiller in the ice barrel, set it up, everything seemed to be working just fine. Well, everything except for the unit was obnoxiously loud. But any time that it was chilling the water, it had this sound that would sound like ridiculously loud, reverberating through the whole house. Maybe that was somewhere in the small print, but I didn't see it. But that was something I was willing to deal with, because I just found a workaround that when I'm not using the unit, I would just turn it off. That way, throughout the whole day, I wouldn't be subjected to the That's where my problem started. Apparently in the off position, the Penguin Chiller leaks water. After leaving my house for a 3-week trip for work and returning, I smelled a mold smell in the area where I had the Penguin Chiller installed. Once I investigated that mold smell, I realized that out of the Penguin Chiller itself, not the ice barrel, not in any of the connection points, excuse that, inside of the unit, there was a leak that was dumping water onto my floor for the 3 weeks that I had it in the off position and I was away from my house. Originally, I didn't notice this leak because the way the unit was set up, the water was dumping behind the trim between where the floor laminate ends and the trim against the wall. So I didn't really see it originally. It wasn't like there was this huge puddle that I came in. It was just perfectly set up to where as the water was dumping, it was just kind of rolling behind the wood laminate and the trim. Upon closer investigation, saw that my trim was warped, and surely enough, there was mold in my house now because this Penguin Chiller unit in the off position was dumping water. Again, no water was being circulated through it, but somehow whatever water was stored internally of that unit in the off position was being leaked onto my floor. I reached out to Penguin Chiller customer service, and this is what happened. Please excuse the low quality of the following videos. I accidentally deleted the videos off my phone after posting them to a secret link to share with Penguin Chillers. But I think you guys can all get the general idea of what I said and what evidence I presented to Penguin Chillers regarding their unit. So let's take a look at that.
So excuse the mess here. We're doing some construction and painting in the house. This has nothing to do with the problem here. But the chiller here, we noticed that there's been a pool of water forming here and it's created some damage. I smell a little mold. All this stuff is getting distorted. And and water's been pooling here. And where it's coming from, this camera. Bubba's back up, buddy. Is the chiller. So move the chiller to see where, because I couldn't feel any water in any of these hoses. Everything's dry. We'll move the chiller out to the center of this little area, and that's where it's leaking from. And then when I tilted it up, you can see the water coming out. This chiller hasn't been on for about a month. It's just been sitting here and just been dumping water into that area. And we have some pretty decent water damage, and it smells like mold here now. So that puddle just came out of there. All right, so the reason why we didn't catch this sooner was because this unit has been sitting in this corner here. We've been kind of temporarily housing the unit here until I create a space in the garage. And as it was dumping water, it looks like I said, this corner right here or this corner right here. I'm not exactly sure, but as it's been dumping the water, it's just been going into this corner right underneath that quarter molding and underneath the wood laminate, and just been building water damage down there and mold. You can definitely smell it. So my wife noticed this about 2 days ago. She saw a little puddle here, and yeah, we discovered this. So been gone for about a month for a work trip. That's why this unit's been sitting here. It has not been on. It's just been sitting here. So haven't read the small print, but I don't think that this thing is supposed to be dumping water when it's just off. So hopefully you guys can help us out with this, because yeah, we definitely have water damage now, and this thing is still dumping water. It's a brand new unit. We've used it about 3-4 times before I left on the work trip. So yeah, please let me know if there's anything you guys can do. Yeah, thank you.
This is where Penguin Chiller customer service began their shocking attempt at mental gymnastics to say anything they could in order to not take responsibility for their unit dumping water in my home. This has to be condensation, and when I explained to them that it's not scientifically possible because the unit is in the off position, and I had taken measures to account for condensation. I'm not an engineer or a scientist, but I have a basic grasp of how things work. And if you have a huge bucket of water that is being chilled to a very low temperature, and the ambient air around you is a lot warmer, condensation will happen around that barrel. I accounted for that, and I set up the required protective measures on the floor to account for said condensation. Now again, I wasn't running my unit 24/7, so I understood that if some condensation formed while I was using the unit and then I unplugged it, if some of that condensation did drip down on my protective mats that I installed on where the ice barrel sat, it would evaporate and no damage would happen. Penguin Chillers customer service could not wrap their head around the fact that condensation cannot be forming when you don't have a difference in temperature between the water and the ambient air. It was the same temperature because it was in the off position. Furthermore, my leak wasn't coming from the ice barrel. My leak was coming from the Penguin Chillers unit that was set up a little ways away from the ice barrel.
So here you see that after I informed Penguin Chillers customer service that I do in fact want to get my unit fixed, but also I am concerned about the water damage and mold that their unit has caused. Right away, Penguin Chillers responded that they are not liable for any kind of damages that may have been caused by their unit, including water damage to my floors and mold. They immediately insisted that the damage in the water was from condensation. Go ahead and pause the video if you would like to read the full exchange. I attempted to explain to Penguin Chillers
that their theory of condensation is nonsensical and gave them a thorough explanation of why and what truly happened. After my thorough explanation, Penguin Chillers ignored me for almost a month, from November 30th until December 20th when I reached out to them again. At this point, I had a pretty good gauge of what kind of company Penguin Chillers was. And it seemed pretty obvious to me at this point that they had zero intention of doing right by their company. They were more concerned with saving face and avoiding any liability than to do the right thing. At this point, with my response, I sent them another video, which you guys will see here now. Okay, so we had the floor people come in today, take up our floors to check for what kind of damage we experienced with the leaking of the Penguin cooler. And as you guys can see here, here's the outline of the water damage. And so it actually got in there a fairly decent amount of water got in there. This floor here was actually lined by this plastic, which on top of the plastic, we had the floor laminate. So what happened was, since the Penguin Chiller was right here and it was pouring water into this corner, it was literally just finding its way underneath that plastic and then spreading all the way through here. So as you can see, all this black stuff, and it's speckled throughout all this floor, that's all mold. So the plan at this point that they have is they are gonna put down some kind of a chemical to kill off this mold, all of it, so that we can just put the floor laminate back on. That's the best case scenario at this point. Now, we are still going to investigate underneath here, because as you can see, there's cracks here, right? And underneath here, I believe there's insulation. So if we have water damage here and mold here, I can almost guarantee that there's gonna be water damage and mold down here inside of this insulation. Again, I keep reiterating myself, I think it's very important to keep saying that this was caused by the malfunction of the Penguin Chiller in the off position. It was leaking in the off position for about a month while I was out of town. Not as stated in the email by Penguin Chiller customer service that this produces condensation when it's on, and that this shouldn't be in an area that can't take that condensation. This damage has nothing to do with the condensation, as you guys can clearly see. We had a rubber mat and an absorbent mat to account for the condensation. We had no issues with the condensation. This is caused because the Penguin Chiller, I keep repeating myself, was leaking, the off position caused this mold and water damage here. So you can see it here. It's on the baseboards. It's all these baseboards are warped. This is warped. So we will let you guys know the extent of this. And again, I'm hoping that Penguin Chillers, that you guys can come through for us and help us with this damage, because again, this is at absolutely no fault of us as a customer. We trust your guys' product. It's not a cheap product, as I indicated in my emails to you guys. It's a pretty hefty, expensive product, and with that, we trusted it not to leak and cause the damage. So please truly consider what's happening here and understand that this is not the fault of the customer. And please let us know if there is anything you guys can do to help us out with this. We will let you guys know what comes of the follow-on inspection and what this is going to cost us. And like I said, please let us know. Thank you. Well, Penguin Chiller's response to my video and request for them to fix my floor was that their warranty does not cover my floor, and that if I would like, they'd be so gracious enough to refund me the extended warranty that I paid for. This definitely felt like a little cherry on top slap in the face from Penguin Chillers. It was a nice way of saying, hey, good luck with your moldy floors that we caused. Here's $180 back for the extended warranty that you paid. That wasn't gonna do anything for you anyways. My response was a nice way of explaining to Penguin Chillers that they're a worthless company when it comes to customer service, and a worthless company when it comes to product reliability. Also, I gave kudos to Penguin Chillers' lawyer team, which were responsible for crafting the language which protected Penguin Chillers from pretty much all liability and allowed for them to be a customer never, Penguin Chillers first type of endeavor.
Here's a lovely response from Penguin Chillers customer service representative Anna Petty, as she explained to me that it's all my fault, and even though I took protective measures for the ice barrel, I should have known better and anticipated that their unit would be dumping water in the off position, and I should have taken the same protective measures for the Penguin Chiller unit itself. She also was kind enough to inform me that their lawyer team was on their side and that legally all their bases were covered. So basically, good luck with my moldy floors again. After they received the unit and apparently tested it, they again conveyed to me that this was all due to condensation, and the videos and pictures of me showing them their unit dumping water, well, that must have all just been my imagination. According to their rigorous testing, it seems like the unit was operating and functioning just perfect. And the video that I showed with the unit dumping water as I tilted it after it sat for 3 weeks in the opposition, well, that's just our eyes deceiving us. This was my final email that I sent over to the lovely Penguin Chillers customer service. Go ahead and pause it if you would like to see what my final statement, I guess, was to them.
Well, there you guys have it. I don't think this was much of a review, and I don't think there needs to be any final thoughts. Hi, buddy. I don't think there's a need for any final thoughts. I think everybody knows my position and take on Penguin Chillers. Now, again, as always, this is my opinion. This is my experience. Other people might have different experiences. Where you going, baby? How was your experience? What do you think about Penguin Chillers? She doesn't like Penguin Chillers. You can tell, because otherwise she'd be staying around. Buddy, can I please talk to the people? Huh? I know, it's not always about you. So, be your own judge. Again, this is my experience. This is not the experience. Other people may have had different and better experiences. This is a no-holds-bar, real owner review and experience with a company called Penguin Chillers. So hopefully this helps you guys in your decision to buy or not buy. And as always, thanks for watching. And until next time, I'm Vasya. This is Big Mac Rollo. Pixie, I don't know where she went. She ran away because she's not a fan of Penguin Chillers. But she's around here somewhere too, so I'll see you guys next time.